One size fits all seemed like a good idea for clothes.
Nice dress. It's a t-shirt.
Until you tried it on. Same goes for your healthcare. That's why United Healthcare offers a variety of flexible, budget-friendly coverage for medical, vision, dental, and more. So whether you're between jobs, coming off a parent's plan, or even missed open enrollment, you can find the plan that fits you best. Find out more about United Healthcare coverage at uh1.com. That's uh1.com.
Millions of people have lost weight with personalized plans from Noom. Like Evan, who can't stand salads and still lost 50 pounds.
Salads generally for most people are the easy button, right? For me, that wasn't an option. I never really was a salad guy. That's just not who I am. But Noom worked for me.
Get your personalized plan today at Noom.com. Real Noom user compensated to provide their story. In 4 weeks, the typical Noom user can expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. Individual results may vary.
There's never been a faster or easier way to start your weight loss journey than with PlushCare. PlushCare accepts most insurance plans and gives you online access to board-certified physicians who can prescribe FDA-approved weight loss medications like Wegovy and Zepbound for those who qualify. Take charge of your health and speak with a board-certified physician about a weight loss plan that's right for you. Get started today at plushcare.com/weight loss. That's plushcare.com/weight loss. plushcare.com/weight loss.
Hello, and welcome to a special Roll of Honour marking some of the fallen on this 205th anniversary of the Battle of Waterloo. An estimated 60,000 men lost their lives, although the truth is that there are no definite calculations of the human cost of that day. For the last week, Marcus Cribb and I have been working to bring you a small selection of names, 205 in fact, to honour those who died in the service of their country.
Our initial hope has been to cover all the combatant nations, bringing together names from French, Prussian, British, Irish, Dutch and King's German Legion units, and to represent the dead of those nations in proportion to the size of the respective forces at Waterloo. It became rapidly apparent, despite our best efforts, that this was going to be impossible. Despite contacting experts in the field, we were only able to acquire lists of the officers killed for the French army and limited lists for the Prussians, and thus have included those available. Unfortunately, we've not been able to locate any definite lists for Dutch and Belgian forces killed.
I want to be clear that this list is compiled to the best of our knowledge, using information that is freely available online. Names from the British Army are taken from the Waterloo 200 website. French officers come from the Tableau par corps et par bataille des officiers tués et blessés pendant les guerres de l'Empire, 1808 to 1815. And for the Prussians, from Militar Wochenblatt Unabhängige Zeitschrift für die Deutsche Wehrmacht. We cannot cover every soldier. The sources mean that we have fewer rank and file than we would like, and there are nationalities that we wish were represented. But we have sadly been unable to find records for them. So if you have a soldier who you would particularly like to remember, please take the time to post on the forum at thenapoleonicwars.net and give some details on the relevant feed, or post on social media using the hashtag Waterloo Remembered.
For everyone's information, because these men are unified by death in this battle, we've decided not to separate them by nationality, but instead to read out their names alphabetically, whilst also highlighting their regiment and their rank for the nation they fought for. Sergeant Trangot Adam, 8th Line Battalion, King's German Legion. Private John Aarons, 1st Light Dragoons, King's German Legion. Lieutenants Anthony Albert, 1st Light Battalion, King's German Legion. Private Peter Albrecht, 5th Line Battalion, 2nd Company, King's German Legion. Private William Alcorn, 2nd North British Regiment of Dragoons. Hussar Johann Heinrich Angels, 3rd Hussar Regiment. Soldat Christoph Arkels, Infanter Regiment Lundberg. Private James Atkinson, 33rd Regiment of Foot, died of his wounds. Sous-Lieutenant Angot, 45th Regiment de Ligne. Sous-Lieutenant Backley, 1st Regiment Cuirassiers. Private Joseph Baccarat, 5th Line Battalion, KGL. Corporal James Bacon, 2nd Battalion, Grenadier Guards. Cannoneer Heinrich Bahir, Artillery. Private Noah Baker, 7th Queen's Own Hussars. Private Richard Baker, 1st Life Guards. Lieutenant Baltz, Artillery à Cheval, 4th Regiment. Private John Banks, 1st Battalion, 95th Rifles. Private Christophe Banier, 1st Regiment of Light Dragoons, KGL. Sergeant Luho Barking, 1st Regiment, Light Dragoon, KGL. Private Richard Barton, 73rd Regiment of Foot, 2nd Battalion. Private Thomas Bailey, 3rd Battalion, 95th Rifles, died of his wounds December 1815. Sergeant Matthew Beardall, 33rd Regiment of Foot, died of his wounds 31st of July 1815. Lieutenant Henry Beer, 30th Cambridgeshire Regiment, 2nd Battalion. Hussar Friedrich Biermann, 1st Hussar Regiment, the Prince Regent Regiment, died of his wounds. Corporal Heinrich Birkenbride, Infantry Regiment, Honours Book.
Corporal Christian Bella, 3rd Line Battalion, King's German Legion, died of wounds. Lieutenant Benoit, French 21st Regiment de Ligne. Private John Bergman, 8th Line Battalion, King's German Legion. Corporal Franz Birkenpile, 2nd Line Battalion, King's German Legion, died of his wounds. Captain Bertrand, French 2nd Regiment of Grenadiers, the Old Guard of the Imperial Guard. Chef de Bataille Bertrand, 8th Regiment of Ligne. Cannoneer Heinrich Bestenbostel, Artillery. Captain B.K., 1st Chasseurs Regiment. Ensign the Honourable S.S.P. Barrington, 2nd Battalion, Grenadier Guards. Troop Sergeant Major Stephen Baxter, 16th Queen's Light Dragoons. Private George Black, 15th King's Regiment of Hussars. Lieutenant Blanchard, French 10th Regiment de Ligne, died on the 26th of June. Corporal Thomas Blandford, 1st Battalion, 95th Rifles. Driver Joseph Blanterin, H Troop, Royal Artillery. Private John Blum, 2nd Battalion, King's German Legion. Trumpeter Henry Bodecker, 1st Regiment, Light Dragoons, King's German Legion. Private Henry Bowman, 1st Light Battalion, 3rd Company, King's German Legion. Lieutenant Boot, 3rd Regiment, French Regiment de Ligne. Sous-Lieutenant Beauchou, Eagle Bearer, 10th Regiment de Ligne. Captain Bouillet, 8th French Regiment de Ligne. Captain Boulanger, French 8th Regiment de Ligne. Private Robert Boyle, 27th Inniskillings Regiment of Foot. Private Thomas Boyle, 27th Inniskillings Regiment of Foot. Private Frederick Brand, 2nd Line Battalion, King's German Legion. Private Joseph Brayman, 1st Regiment, Light Dragoons, King's German Legion.
Sergeant Samuel Broad, 32nd Cornish Regiment of Foot. Lieutenant Colonel Francis Brooke, 4th King's Own Regiment. Private Richard Broom, 51st Light Infantry. Captain Thomas Brown, the Light Company of the 2nd Battalion Grenadier Guards. Sergeant Caspar Bucher, 2nd Light Battalion King's German Legion. Lieutenant Henry Buckley, 15th King's Regiment of Hussars. Private Thomas Budd, 15th King's Regiment of Hussars, died of wounds 18th of June in Brussels. Chef de Bataille Bougeon, 27th Regiment de Ligne. Ensign James Bullen, 30th Cambridgeshire Regiment, 2nd Battalion. Corporal Henry Bunk, 4th Battalion, Line Regiment, King's German Legion. Captain Cambries Chasseurs, 1st Regiment. Private Colin Campbell, 92nd Regiment of Highlanders. Lieutenant Canon, 19th Regiment de Ligne, died of his wounds July the 7th. Private Francis Carpenter, 5th Regiment of Line, 4th Company, King's German Legion. Lieutenant Carton, 1st Regiment of Grenadiers of Foot, Imperial Guard, the Old Guard. Corporal Arthur Kavanagh, 27th Inniskilling Regiment of Foot. Gunner Richard Chadwick, Rogers Company, Royal Artillery, died of his wounds. Major F. W. Chambers, 30th Cambridgeshire Regiment, 2nd Battalion. Lieutenant Colonel Chasse Dupit, 4th Line Battalion, King's German Legion. Major George Shuden, 4th Line Battalion, King's German Legion. Private Abraham Clark, 1st Life Guards. Private James Clark, 2nd Life Guards. Captain Claudel, 10th Regiment de Ligne. Jäger Friedrich Cludis, Field Jäger Corps. Lieutenant John Clyde, 23rd Regiment of Foot, died of his wounds 3rd July 1815.
Chef de Bataille Cognier, 1st Tirailleurs Regiment, French Imperial Guard. Drummer William Collins, 2nd Battalion, 95th Rifles. Captain Constant, French 21st Regiment de Ligne. Private Charles Convery, 5th Line Battalion, Grenadier Company, King's German Legion. Hussar Johann Heinrich Cook, 3rd Prussian Hussar Regiment. Lieutenant Coquart, French 25th Regiment de Ligne. Private Moses Cottle, 28th North Gloucestershire Regiment of Foot. Lieutenant Stephen Coxine, 23rd Light Dragoons. Lieutenant Crompay, French 21st Regiment de Ligne. Captain Crépin, French 19th Regiment de Ligne, died of his wounds 2nd of August 1815. Private Thomas Cuthbert, 1st Regiment of Foot, Royal Scots, 3rd Battalion. Captain the Honourable William Curzon, 69th South Lincolnshire Regiment of Foot, 2nd Battalion. Corporal Frederick Daub, 5th Line Battalion, 5th Company, King's German Legion. Corporal William Davey, 32nd Cornwall Regiment of Foot. Lieutenant Frederick de Teinzen, 3rd Line Battalion, King's German Legion, died of his wounds. Chef de Bataille de Mauzion, French 19th Regiment de Ligne. Chef de Bataille d'Écosse, French 10th Régiment de Ligne. Chef de bataille d'Ehonay, French 21st Régiment de Ligne. Lieutenant Delapierre, French Dragoons Regiment of the Old Guard of the Imperial Guard, died on the 15th of July 1815. Chef de bataille de Lunay, French 1st Tirailleurs Regiment of the Imperial Guard. Captain Delcourt, French 21st Regiment de Ligne. Private Thomas Delamore, 32nd Cornwall Regiment of Foot. Driver Thomas Dibon, G Troop, Royal Artillery. Sergeant Robert Dick, 44th East Essex Regiment of Foot, died of his wounds, 19th of August 1815. Private Thomas Dilworth, Light Company, 2nd Battalion, British Grenadier Guards.
Private Henry Dining, 1st Light Battalion, King's German Legion. Private Michael Doyle, 23rd Regiment of Foot, dying of his wounds, 1st July 1815. Private Frederick Drake, 15th King's Regiment of Hussars, died of his wounds, 27th of June, hospital in Brussels. Captain Drolet, 45th Regiment de Ligne. Squadron Leader Dubourg, Chasseurs, 1st Regiment. Captain Dulac, Dragoon Regiment, Old Guard of the Imperial Guard. Private Lachlan Duncan, 92nd Regiment, Highlanders. 1st Lieutenant Elliot Duncan Johnston, 1st Battalion, 95th Rifles. Sous-Lieutenant Dupuy, 2nd Regiment de Ligne. Capitaine Dutroy, 19th Regiment de Ligne. Sergeant John Ebert, 2nd Light Battalion, King's German Legion. Drummer Thomas Elliott, 30th Cambridgeshire Regiment, 2nd Battalion. Private Matthew Enschkowski, 5th Line Battalion, Light Company, King's German Legion. Corporal James Evans of the 2nd Battalion, Grenadier Guards, died of his wounds. Captain Fry, 1st Regiment of Grenadiers of Foot, the Old Guard, the Imperial Guard. Lieutenant Fay, 2nd Regiment of Grenadiers of Foot, Old Guard of the Imperial Guard. Lieutenant Colonel Samuel Ferrier, 1st Life Guards. Lieutenant General Fleury, formerly of the 21st Regiment de Ligne. Squadron Chief Francois, Dragoons Regiment, Old Guard, the Imperial Guard. Corporal Christoph Fredericks, 1st Light Dragoons, King's German Legion. Jäger Christian Fritsch of the Field Jaeger Corps. Private James Fullerton, 71st Light Infantry. Transknecht Johann Christ Gardner, Prussian Artillery Corps. Private Michael Geary, 44th East Essex Regiment of Foot, died of his wounds. Brevet Major George Davidson, 42nd Royal Highland Regiment of Foot, died of his wounds the 7th of August 1815.
Corporal James Gibb, 92nd Highland Regiment. Captain Girard, French 1st Chasseurs Regiment. Lieutenant Goddard, French 3rd Régiment de Ligne. Captain Alex Goban, 1st Light Battalion, King's German Legion. Lieutenant Arthur Gore, 33rd Regiment of Foot. Private William Greenwood, 32nd Cornwall Regiment of Foot. Sous-Lieutenant Grocnier, French 3rd Regiment de Ligne. Captain Gronier, French Artillery à Cheval, 4th Regiment. Chef de Bataille Grouard, French 45th Regiment de Ligne. Lieutenant General Halley, formerly of the French 19th Regiment de Ligne. Lieutenant Harlay, 2nd French Regiment of Grenadiers of the Foot, of the Old Guard of the Imperial Guard. Lieutenant A. Hay, 16th Queen's Light Dragoons. Private William Heaton, 1st Life Guards. Colonel Sir Henry Walton Ellis, 23rd Royal Welch Fusiliers, died of his wounds 20th of June. Private Charles Herman, 8th Line Battalion, King's German Legion. Major Arthur Rowley Hayland, 40th Somersetshire Regiment of Foot. Colonel Sir William Howard de Lancey, Deputy Quartermaster General. Sergeant Anthony Houghton, 1st Battalion, 95th Rifles. Sous-Lieutenant Houteau, French 1st Tirailleurs Regiment of the Imperial Guard. Private Bernard Eidberg, 3rd Line Battalion, King's German Legion. Corporal Jonas Ilton, 7th Queen's Own Hussars. Captain Enheron, French Dragoon Regiment of the Old Guard of the Imperial Guard, died of his wounds 26th of June 1815. Ensign Samuel Ireland, 27th Inniskillings Regiment of Foot. Corporal Hugh Jones, 23rd Royal Welch Fusiliers, died of his wounds. Corporal George Keitel, 1st Light Battalion, 2nd Company, King's German Legion.
Private George King, 95th Rifles, 3rd Battalion. Gunner Isaac Knox, Royal Artillery, died of his wounds 24th of August 1815. Jäger Friedrich Koch, Field Jaeger Corps. Private Henry Kors, 5th Line Battalion, 1st Company, King's German Legion. Private Jon Koerning, 1st Regiment of Light Dragoons, King's German Legion. Corporal Leonard Koppelman, 3rd Hussar Regiment of the Prussian Army. Capitaine Lacombe, 2nd French Regiment du Ligne. Colonel Lacroix, 3rd Cuirassier Regiment, died 30th of June 1815. Chef de Bataille Lafourgue, 1st Regiment of the Old Guard, the Imperial Guard. Captain George Lane, 4th Line Battalion, King's German Legion. Sous-Lieutenant Lapierre, 45th Regiment du Ligne. Capitaine Laroche, 3rd Regiment du Ligne. Lieutenant Leroche, 3rd Regiment du Ligne. Sous-Lieutenant Le Sénégal, 2nd Regiment du Ligne. Capitaine Lebeau, 2nd Regiment of Grenadiers, Old Guard, the Imperial Guard. Lieutenant Leblanc, Dragoon Regiment, Old Guard, Imperial Guard. Private Robert Littlejohn, 2nd Royal Dragoons. Private Henry Lynch, 30th Cambridgeshire Regiment, 2nd Battalion. Private James Madden, 28th North Gloucestershire Regiment of Foot. Chef de Bataille Connoy de Montmignon, 2nd Regiment de Grenadiers of Foot, Old Guard, the Imperial Guard. Driver William Mainwaring, G Troop, Royal Artillery. Private William Malabar, 11th Regiment of Light Dragoons. Lieutenant Mallet, 1st Regiment of Grenadiers of Foot, Old Guard, the Imperial Guard. Captain Marin, 27th Regiment de Ligne. Captain Marincourt, 25th Regiment de Ligne.
Lieutenant Millet, French 3rd Regiment de Ligne. Trainknecht Friedrich Miller, Prussian Artillery. Surgeon Monin, French 19th Regiment de Ligne. Ensign William Nettles, 52nd Oxfordshire Light Infantry. Sous-Lieutenant Normand, French 2nd Regiment de Ligne. Private Joseph Oates, 1st Life Guards. Hussar Johann Oldhofer, Prussian 3rd Hussar Regiment. Chef de Bataille Paquet, French 25th Regiment de Ligne. Lieutenant Perard, French 45th Regiment de Ligne. Lieutenant Pearson, French 2nd Regiment of Grenadiers of the Old Guard of the Imperial Guard. Lieutenant Poulain, French Dragoon Regiment of the Old Guard of the Imperial Guard, died of his wounds 3rd of July 1815. Lieutenant Prin, 3rd Regiment de Ligne. Major William Norman Ramsay, commander of Ramsay's Troop of the Royal Horse Artillery. First Lieutenant William Robe, Ramsay's Troop, Royal Horse Artillery. Sous-Lieutenant Salmon, French 2nd Regiment de Ligne. Chef de Bataille Saron, French 2nd Regiment de Ligne. Bombardier Heinrich Scheller, Prussian Artillery. Sous-Lieutenant Schmaltz, Standard Bearer, French 1st Chasseurs Regiment. Colonel Simoneau, 1st Chasseurs Regiment. Trumpeter Christian Thomas, Prussian 3rd Hussar Regiment. Captain Thomas, French 1st Regiment of Grenadiers of the Old Guard of the Imperial Guard. Soldat Johann Albrecht Tolka, Infantry Regiment of Lüneburg. Captain Chapier, French 1st Tyrol Regiment of the Imperial Guard. Lieutenant Verbier, French 1st Tyrol Regiment of the Imperial Guard. Captain Viteau, French 45th Regiment de Ligne.
Captain Vivant, 2nd Regiment of Grenadiers, Old Guard of the Imperial Guard. Hussar Wehrherr Hermann Heinrich, 3rd Prussian Hussar Regiment. General Friedrich Wilhelm Graf Bülow de Dennewitz, 4th Corps. Rittmeister Winterstedt Schneck of the 3rd Prussian Hussar Regiment. Sous-Lieutenant Ziloff, 19th Regiment de Ligne. All 205 men whose names here we've listed received their wounds on the 18th of June 1815, just south or near the village of Waterloo. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
Planning for your next trip? Elevate your travel style with Quince. Quince has all the jet-setting essentials you'll want for your next getaway, like European linen, premium luggage options, buttery soft Italian leather bags, and so much more. And it's all priced at 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Plus, Quince only works with factories that use safe and ethical manufacturing practices. Pack your bags with high-quality essentials you'll be wearing for vacations to come with Quince. Go to quince.com/trip for free shipping and 365-day returns.